Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Rudy again in the Afro Hustle Show, and welcome to today's episode. I'm really excited that you're here today. And for those of you who are just listening online or listening on your favorite podcast platform, thank you. And this is actually going to be an audio recorded and also on a screen recorded session because there's something I really want to share with you guys today. And the topic of our conversation is really about the DV lottery program for the United States. For those who are thinking about coming to the United States, we have this DV lottery program that goes along, that's been launched every year. And we have millions of people around the world who apply every year to come into the United States, but guess what, only 50,000 people are being selected. So I want to share this conversation with you guys because about time again. I think that it's going to be launched on October 6th, and this episode is being recorded on October 3rd, which is a Sunday. So the DV lottery program is going to be launched on October 6th of 2021. So I want you to actually get your pen ready, get yourself ready for today's episode because it's going to be mind blowing. You're going to learn a lot about what you should get yourself into, how to better prepare yourself to be on a better chance to win the DV lottery. So get yourself ready, guys, and I can't wait for us to jump to the conversation today. Hey, but before we jump into today's conversation, as usual, we're gonna go back to our African proverb for the day. And our African proverb for today is actually from the people of Okanda, Congo. When your neighbor is wrong, you point a finger, but when you are wrong, you hide. Wow, that's an amazing proverb, because when I think about it, it's when your neighbor is wrong, you point a finger, but when you are wrong, you hide. It's so easy for us as we go through life to think about the fact that we are always right? You want to be perfect. You want to be perfect all the time. You don't want anybody to look at you to be, maybe you're wrong, maybe you're weak, or maybe you're whatever reason, right? We always think about the fact that we want to show that we are the best. We want to show that we are never wrong. But as soon as we find something wrong in somebody else, we keep pointing the finger and say, "Oh, look at you. There's something wrong with you. Maybe your hair is wrong, or maybe your shoes is not tied properly, or maybe you don't even know what you're talking about." As an immigrant, actually, this is something that I faced a lot of times. Even at work, there were so many times where I didn't want to air my opinion, right? I didn't want to say anything, not because I didn't know, but just because of the fact that I didn't want people to point the fingers at me. People would point the fingers at me and be like, "Oh, maybe you have an accent. Oh my God, why are you talking like that?" So and it's so easy for us not to want to be wrong, because at the end of the day, we feel like if you are wrong, then maybe you're inferior, right? You are lesser of a person, but that is not actually what life is all about. It's sometimes if you see somebody who does something wrong, you can point the finger, but also be willing to actually accept feedback from somebody else. It's so easy, especially when you, even like at work, right? I think one of the best criteria, so one of the things which you want to classify yourself as a professional, is I want to think about the fact that you are able to receive positive feedback. When somebody gives you a feedback, maybe you did something, maybe you didn't do it as perfect as you had expected it to be, then your boss will walk up to you, be like, "Hey, you didn't do this right," or maybe you should have done it better. But so many times we think about that we take that to be on the wrong side. We take that on the wrong way. We always feel like, "Oh no, there's something wrong with me, or maybe my boss doesn't like me, or maybe there's something wrong." But that is not actually what the problem is. Your boss is mainly targeting what your work style is, or maybe your approach to that problem, your approach to that solution at work. He or she wants you to do better, not about you as a person, right? So be open to feedback, guys. Be open to feedback. Welcome it as much as you want somebody to get, as much as you want to point your finger to somebody to get to say, "Oh, you are wrong," to provide feedback. Be also open to welcome feedback from somebody else, because guess what? We are humans. We are not perfect, and we always want to be better every day. Okay, great. That's a proverb coming from Okanda people of Kenya. Of Congo. Sorry, that's a proverb coming from the Okanda people of Congo. Now, Congo is up somewhere around the Central Africa. For those of you who may not know, so Congo is a small country in the Central Africa. Okay, awesome. So now let's jump into this episode. So for today's episode, I only want to talk about how to apply to win the United States DV lottery program. So for today's episode, I only want to talk about, first of all, let's start with the purpose of the DV lottery, right? Why is it only the United States that has this DV lottery program? So United States, of course, as we all know, it's the world's power and economic power, whatever the internet may say about the United States, right? But the purpose of the DV lottery program is actually to diversify the immigrant population in the United States by randomly selecting applicants from low-income countries to the United States who will bring economic values to the US. So it's important for us to know that, okay, before you qualify to apply, the United States actually they already have their process, they already have their plans in place, they already have instructions or formulations or criteria for you to be eligible to be able to apply to this program, right? And one of the most important criteria that we want to look at is how you can bring economic value to the United States. This is not a program that actually runs in other countries. There are a lot of other developed countries like the United Kingdom, like Canada, but they do not have this. So the United States intends to bring 50,000 people every year into the United States from being randomly selected into the US from low-income countries. So if your country is classified as a low-income country, of course, almost all of African countries are classified as low-income countries. So if you are from Africa, of course, you want to look at your national GDP, or you can just assume that your country is low income, but your country may not be actually classified as low income country. So that's one thing you want to look into. There are a lot of times that people play the lottery and they say, oh, I've been playing, I've never won, but you may never know. These are things that maybe your country is not classified as a low income country, but again, you can currently reside in another country, but you have your passport of your original country. Then you can then apply, because maybe your original country is low income. For example, if you currently live in Dubai or you currently live in China, but you are a citizen of Kenya, right? And Kenya is classified as a low income country, then you can definitely use your Kenyan passport to apply even while you are in China or you are in Dubai. I hope that makes sense. So you can actually use that to apply. So but that is the purpose of the DV lottery program. So to bring economic values to the United States and to diversify the immigrants population within the US. So now the second aspect of our episode today is actually look at the criteria for you to be eligible to apply. So one of the criteria that is listed right now on the web on the internet is, first of all, you want to have a high school diploma or the equivalent. Maybe if you have, for example, in Cameroon they have a GCE or advanced level, that's equivalent to a high school diploma in the United States. So whatever educational level that you've obtained, is that maybe you've obtained a high school diploma or the equivalent of a high school diploma in the United States. Second item you want to have, or if you do not have a high school diploma, make sure to have at least 2 years of active working experience. 2 years of active working experience, right? How you can actually work to make sure that, these are working experience. Maybe if you've had a job in the past, or if you're currently working but you've never gone to school, you never had a high school diploma, but you're currently working, so that's also makes you eligible to apply. Now, for those who have a high school diploma or better, maybe they have a bachelor's degree or they have some sort of polytechnic certificate, or you've completed your high school diploma but you've actually done other certifications in addition to that, that's great, that's awesome. It puts you on a better advantage, because at the end of the day, what the United States want to do is that they want to bring in people who will come in to start working almost immediately, who will bring economic values to the country. That's the goal of the United States, right? So They want to bring people who bring in economic values, people who are intelligent, people who bring skills, to the United States to work and to make the country better. So that's the goal of the United States. So if you have already been working, maybe you already have a bachelor's degree, or you already have high school diploma, and you've already had working experience, that puts you on a better advantage, puts you over the edge. Both people who may only have a high school diploma and nothing else to show for it. A new criteria that was recently added, I think this was added in 2019, is the requirement of a valid passport. So if you want to apply now, in the past when I applied, or when I won the United States DV lottery, we did not have to put in the passport. We did not need the passport. Maybe if they required a passport at the time, I would not have been able to apply because I did not have a passport when I applied. But things have changed. Time has changed. There have been different presidents in the United States since my time. So now they actually require a valid passport, a valid national passport, because I think one of the reasons why they started requiring this passport is because there were a lot of fraudulent activities that were going on within these applications. People will apply, the organizations will apply for multiple people, and these are people who may not even be alive. For whatever reason, people were doing that. But now the government, or the United States government, said, in order for us to make you eligible, you have to provide a valid passport. And what does the validity of a passport requires? It means that a passport that is original, issued by the government of your country, not something that is being created fake. It has to be produced by the government of your country, right? The second item is that you want to make sure the passport is not expired. It has to be a valid passport, which is actually valid for at least 6 months validity. So you want to have a valid passport. If I want to advise you, my advice will be that you have a passport that has a validity of over 1 year, because if you win the lottery, you have to travel, and you don't want to apply with an old passport. Then when you have to travel to the United States, or when you go in for your visa interview, you go in with a different passport, there might be complications in that process. But I highly recommend that if you have a valid passport, you make sure that passport has at least 1 year validity. That is not maybe it's going to expire in 1 year, or maybe in 2 years, right? So that if you are randomly selected, like they call it, then you will be able to use the same passport. You will be able to use that same passport to go in for your visa interview process. Okay, so now we have to go how to apply to the DV lottery. They have instructions. If you are listening to the recording, if you are listening to this episode, then I have to share with you that you can go on your computer, go to travel. I'm currently sharing my screen. Go to travel.state.gov. Let me go to this website, travel.state.gov. If you go to travel.state.gov, you are going to arrive on this web. Great. So now we have to go. The next part of the process is how to apply to the DV lottery program. The application is going to be open this year. Is going to be open on October 6th. So October 6th of this year is going to be Wednesday. It's going to be Wednesday, October 6th, 12 Eastern time. So 12 midday Eastern time is going to be 12 midday is the United States time, United States Standard Time. That's the time that the application will be open for people to actually apply. So go to the website for you to be able to apply. Go to travel.state.gov. Next thing you want to do is if you go to travel.state.gov, you're going to see this welcome page, travel.state, the United States government. This is an official United States government website. Next thing you want to do is go to US visas. Click on US visas. If you click on US visas, it's going to bring you to a page where you will see the Statue of Liberty. you see the Statue of Liberty, and it will give you instructions about what is a US visa. Then you can read all those information on the website and all this other fun stuff. Now, the second stage, or the next steps, the next thing in our step or in our process is you want to click on Immigrant. So on the top menu, you will see US passports, international travel, US visas, intercountry adoption, international parental child abduction, records on authentications. So that's like a first menu bar. The second menu bar underneath, you will see travel and visit, tourism, business, employment, study and exchange. Then we are interested in Immigrant, so that's the one we are interested in. You click on Immigrant. If you click on Immigrant, the next step is going to take you is they say, are you interested in immigrating to the United States or want to sponsor someone? Now, if you look at the immigrant visas, there are six categories of immigrant visas. We have family-based visa. We have employment-based visa. These are people who will receive employment from United States company, and they issue them a visa from overseas to come and work into the United States. We have adoption. These are people who are living in the United States but who want to adopt a child from overseas. We have special immigrants. These are people who may be coming from other countries that may have US government affiliations. We have diversity visa. This is what we're interested in. Diversity visa is what we're interested in. So we can click on diversity visa. Great. So this is a diversity visa. If you click on that, this is where you are supposed to land on this page. The diversity visa has 10 steps in order for you to process. They have 10 steps to process, and the 10 steps include submitting an entry. The first one is submit an entry. This is when you actually submit an application to be considered to be randomly selected, right? The second step, so we click on the first step, which is submit an entry. Submit an entry gives you the instructions how to actually go about submitting an entry. They have a passport entry requirement. Maybe you are able to look at the requirement for a passport. Now, in order for you to submit your application, if you go through this process, if you click on submit an entry, the next thing you'll see is important notice. All applicants, for questions about passport requirement, please read passport entry FAQ here. So if you click on this link, it's going to tell you about the passport requirements and what you have to do. But for today's episode, we are interested in actually showing you how you can go about the application process, right? I'm going to put these links in the comments below, in the description of this episode, so you can definitely just click on them and go directly to the website. But I want to make sure I share with you that the instructions and the process of actually getting to that page. So all entries must be submitted electronically on the electronic diversity visa website. So if we click on this link, I'm going to right click and open on a new tab so we can see that page. So this is the page that you're going to see, right? This is the page that you're going to see. They said the DV diversity program registration period was from October 7, 2020 to November 10, 2020. So this is actually, now they are telling us about the entry level that happened from last year. This is the people that played last year. People who played last year, they will be traveling. Everything being equal, they will be traveling maybe next year, 2022. But for this year, we are looking at the start, because it is not yet open, because today is October 3rd, but the application is going to be open on October 6th. So it has not yet been open. So that's why we are seeing this thank you page. The thank you is telling us that we have already submitted an application for this, but I have not submitted an application, right? So it's just telling us about that the new application is not yet ready. So if now they only giving you a button to check your status. If you had played last year, maybe 2020 or 2021 DV lottery, now they're asking you to check your status of your application. But if you come in on this page on October 6th after 12 noon Eastern time, or maybe you can do it on October 7th. If you do that on October 6th or October 7th, it's going to give you another button here asking you to apply. So if you click on the application page, if you click on that link, you're going to see the application page, which is going to pop up and ask you for your information. Okay, so that's the first step in the application process. You've submitted the application, you've put in your passport number, your passport expiration date, you put all that good stuff, all that good information. The next thing you want to do is in the process, or next step in the process of you being selected, is now the selection process. The selection process, you have no control over the selection process, right? But I just want to share with you guys the entire steps and see, so you really see how the program works. So the selection process occurs by they randomly do the selection by the United States government. So this is what is, you see, this is what it says. It said DV lottery DV2023 registration period begins on October 6, 2021 at 12 noon Eastern time, and it's going to last through November 6, 2021 at 12 noon Eastern time. So one caveat or one strategy, one thing that I've learned about this process is that it's always good to apply early. Always good to apply early. So because if you apply early, you have a better chances. That's my assumption, and it may be right, it may be wrong, but that's what I have experienced. I personally applied super early in the process. I think I applied within the first 3 days in the process, and I won. And there are people that apply within that first week too that didn't win. But for most people that I know who have won, actually applied during the first days. The process of applying during the first day does not necessarily mean that, oh, if you apply during the first days you're going to win. But if you apply during those first days, the chances are that if you win, your number is going to be selected. So that's another thing I'm going to go through. I'm going to go with you guys, right? Winning the lottery is not enough. Winning to be considered to be randomly selected is not enough. But let's go into the process and see what it is and what it entails. So the next step is, if you are selected. Now, if you are selected, what happens? If you are selected, I'm going to share with you guys the screen. I'm going to share with you what you will see if you are selected. Selected applicants, they say here, selected applicants are encouraged to complete the online DS260 application immediately to schedule an interview appointment in the appropriate U.S. embassy or consulate. Now, this is an example of if you are selected. I hope you can see this screen. If you are selected, this is what you're going to see. This is an example of what you're going. An official email that will come from the United States government send you, and it will congratulate you. You have been randomly selected to further processing in the diversity immigrant visa program for the fiscal year, the 30 fiscal year that you applied. Now, the one thing I want to stress on is that selection does not guarantee that you will receive a visa, because the number of applicants selected is greater than the number of visas available. Now, this is something that I want you to really pay attention to. This application here, they said approximately 125,000 individuals were registered for further processing. Note that the United States government only welcomes 50,000 applicants. Only 50,000 applicants every year. It means they issue 50,000 visas. But now you ask yourself, why would they select more than 50,000 people if they are only issuing visas to 50,000 people? There are a couple of reasons. Maybe somebody died in the process before their results came up. Maybe somebody decided not to do it again, not to get the visa again, right? Maybe the person who won decided that, you know what, I don't want to travel to the United States again. Maybe their plans changed. Maybe they got married. Maybe whatever reason, right? There are a bunch of reasons why people may decide not to want to pursue the applicant visa anymore. That's why, in order for the United States to increase their chances of making sure that they issue exactly 50,000 visas. They select more than 50,000 individuals. Then they tell them, hey, you have been randomly selected. So for this, they said that we are approximately 125,000 individuals were registered for further processing. Now, it means that's the same thing when I was talking about when you apply early. If you apply early and if you win, there are chances that your number will be issued a visa. Okay, let's go down to the next item I want us to pay attention to in this letter is this number. This number is so important. This number is so important. You will see that this person won the lottery, right? This is a friend of mine. I know him. He won the lottery, but his case number is 92,046. So this is 92,046, right? That's his case number. But guess what? The United States government said we are only issuing visas to 50,000 people. Now, he won the lottery. His number is 92,046. Now he's praying to God every day that oh God, please let them get to my number, right? And it so happened that they did not get to his number. Before they got to 92,000 people, all the 50,000 visas have already been issued to all those people. It means that he was never contacted, he was never selected to for an immigrant visa interview. So that's a process that I want you to really think about, because if you apply early and you win, your number should, if you want to guarantee, right? If you want to guarantee your visa interview, make sure that you apply early, and if you win, your number should be less than 50,000. When I won, my number was about 22,000 when I won, and I said, oh, thank God, because now my chances of actually getting the visa was way higher, or I would say 100% certain, right? But if you win and your number is more than 50,000, say your number is 92,000 like my friend here, it means that you are praying to God that people who are before you, or the first 92,045 people, should leave one visa for you. I mean, I hope you really get the point, right? But the most important thing I want you to get from this is that I want you to think about the fact that you have to apply early, and there are so many advantages of applying early. So that is the process of being randomly selected, right? And the reasons why applying early is super important in this process. The next thing is, now you want to have, that's when you have been selected. The next step, which is step 4, is confirm your qualifications. Now, if you had told the US doing your application, you told them that you had a bachelor's or a bachelor's degree, or had a high school diploma. Remember when we talked about the criteria for eligibility, that you need to have a high school diploma education. Now, this is what the US means by a high school education. Education means successful completion of a formal course of an elementary and secondary complete education comparable to a 12-year course in the United States, which means you have gone to school for 12 years. It doesn't mean that you're repeating classes. It means that you have actually passed successfully for 12 years through your educational career journey. Now, the next one is work experience. If you are qualifying with work experience, you must have 2 years experience in the last 5 years in an occupation which, by the United States labor definitions, requires at least 2 years of training. Now, this goes back to our initial conversation of the purpose of this visa, of this diversity visa, right? Because you see what the US government said here. They says you want to make sure that you are somebody. If you are qualifying by work experience, you are not just qualifying by work experience, but you are qualifying to make sure that you have the required training by the US Department of Labor definitions, which means as you come into the United States, you are ready to get into specific vocational preparations or specific vocational training that will get you ready to jump into the job market and start working to develop the US economy, right? The next step is the passport requirement. They said beginning the entries of 2021, the United States Department of State's regulations require all entrants to provide a valid passport at the time of the DV entry, unless they are unable to obtain a passport or fall under one of the 3 limited exemptions. So again, you want to make sure you have a valid passport during your time of application. It is super important that you have that valid passport. The next step in the process is step 5. Now you have been selected, you have confirmed your eligibility, you have provided your education and your work experience, you have provided all those good stuff. The next step, which is step 5, is now to submit your immigrant visa and alien registration application. That application is called DS260. This is a DS260 form. Let me click on this so you can see what the form looks like and how you can actually go about the completion. I'm going to do another episode on how to complete this form, but if you click on that link, it's going to bring you here, and this is the page you're looking for. You're looking for immigrant, you're looking for DS260, an online immigrant visa and alien registration application. This is what you're looking for. Now if you click on this, I said this site no longer supports payback and PDF, blah blah blah. You click on it, continue. Now once you have received your your selection notification, this notification that we looked at here, this one, once you've received this selection, they're going to ask you now for the case number. This is the case number. Of course, for privacy reasons, I did not disclose the entire case number because of privacy reasons of my friend who gave me a permission to use his permission to use this this thing for this purpose, his application and receipt for this episode. So you can look at, so now they're asking you to copy. You can copy this number, you can copy this case number, your case number, and post the case number on this website. Once you paste the case number here, then you continue. It's going to show you the next steps that you are going to go into the process. Now that's that. The next part of the process now is step 6. You have already started your DS260 application, right? Great. Now the next step is submitting supporting documents. All the supporting documents that you need to submit, maybe your financial documents, your birth certificates, your court prison records, police records, copy of your passport, copy of your biometric, like all the necessary documentations that they require from you is here. So the good thing is about this is that the DV lottery program does not necessarily require a lot of documentation. Once you have all the valid documents that they require, if you go to this website, you can see all the valid information and the documents that they require in order for you to submit all the documentations for the process. The next step is the interview. Now, step 6 is the interview. How do you prepare for your interview, for your visa interview? It's so easy for DV lottery program. Now, if your number is within, like I said, if your number is within that 50,000, the first 50,000 range, then you are super confident that you're going to be issued a visa interview, right? You're going to be issued a visa interview. So now they've given you a visa interview if your number is within this 50,000. So now they've given you a visa interview and you're doing the visa interview. And in order for you to prepare for that interview, you have to make sure you have all your documentations. You have to print the letter that was issued to you saying that you have been randomly selected. You have to bring all the other paperwork that was as we said in the other email, in the other step 6, that says submit supporting documents. Bring along all your supporting documents and your DS260 form, the DS260 that we said here, the immigrant visa application that needs to be provided. Step 7, preparing for the interview. Step 8, you're preparing for the interview. So now, in order for you to prepare for the interview, these are the things that they ask you to provide. They say review the consulate interview instructions, because every embassy, if you are in Kenya, in Ghana, in Senegal, Congo, Ethiopia, all those countries, they have their embassies and consulates have different requirements. It may have different requirements, but they may have different instructions, but the DV lottery program itself has the same requirement across the world. So yeah, looking at the set, you have to provide the documentations, marriage, if you're married, custody, and all that stuff. You have to provide evidence of required qualifications of your work experience. Remember, if you had told them that you had a work experience, you have to provide evidence that you have that work experience. Maybe a resume, maybe a signed document from your boss or from your employer. You have to provide that information. They're asking you to read the website carefully in order to make sure that you do not miss anything. You also have to provide medical qualifications to show that you are not sick or you don't have any sort of illness or whatever. Then also need to provide receipts of the fees that you have paid. Remember, this is not free, right? This is not free. So for a visa interview, the fee is $330 per person. This is for the visa interview, right? The next step in the process is step 9, that says applicant interview. This is now in the interview, during the interview, what you should know during the interview. So who must attend the interview? The applicant must attend the interview, and you have to bring in the appointment letter, the DS-260 application, the passport, the confirmation, medical exam result, and all original supporting documents. And if your documents are not in the English language, you have to make sure that you provide translated evidence and also the originals of English, the original language, and the translated documents into English to the embassy during your interview. Now, the last step, step 10, after the interview, what happens? Now, after the interview, if your visa has been approved, then you will receive, they will tell you then at the time of the interview that you will receive your visa. Then hooray, you're excited, right, to come to the United States. But if your visa has been denied, they will also give you additional information on why the visa was denied. And all other process, you would have to just go into the process of whatever they tell you. So this is the process of the DV law diversity visa program entry, and I hope that you will actually been able to receive some definite good information from this episode. And I really hope that for those who are just getting on this website, for getting on my video or my channel for the first time, make sure to click the subscribe button and click the bell so you will never miss any of my episodes again. And for those who are returning viewers, thank you for being a good subscriber. Thank you for hanging out with me, and thank you so much for continuing to share these videos, because somebody out there needs to hear this information, because it's definitely going to help them to change their lives for the better. So thank you guys again, and I can't wait to see you on the next episode.